Okay, we're going to be taking a look at our first chord progression today. So we started working with some new chords, and we're using the full versions of them for this chord progression. So we're going to be using the G, C, and D chord. So we'll take a look at what these chords look like. All right, so we have our G chord here, where we're going to use our middle finger for this note on the low E string on the 3rd fret. So that 2 represents our middle finger, finger 2. Finger 1 is going to go on fret 2 of the A string, and then our ring finger, our 3rd finger, is going to go on fret 3 of the high E string. We're going to play all these strings, all 6 strings. For the C chord, we are not going to play this low E string, but we're going to play the A string down. So we're going to have our 3rd finger on the 3rd fret A, 2nd finger on the 2nd fret of the D string, and then our 1st finger on the 2nd fret of the B string, and we're going to play from the A string down. So when we see this red X, we do not play that low E string. Finally, we have our D chord. So we do not play the low E or A string. We will play the D string, which is our 4th string, and then we're going to put our 1st finger on the 2nd fret of the G, middle finger on the 2nd fret of the high E, and then ring finger on the 3rd fret of the B string. So it's going to sound like this. Okay, so there are our 3 chords that we're going to be working with right now. Now let's take a look at the chord progression that we're going to be using. Okay, so here's our sheet. We have, I have 2 lines, and then we have 4 measures in each line. So 1st measure, 2nd measure, 3rd, 4th, 5th measure, 6th, 7th, and 8th. So we have our G chord in the first 2 measures, our C chord in measures 3 and 4, G in measures 5 and 6, and then D in 7 and 8, and then we repeat back to the beginning. This sign right here at the end of the measure, where we have these 2 dots and this line, is it's the sign for repeat back to the beginning. So we'll do that. What we're also going to do is we're going to add in a strum pattern, which I have written down here, and I'm using arrows to indicate which way we should be strumming. So it's kind of tough to read, but this is pointing down. So we'll go down, down, up, up, down, up. And that's going to be the strum pattern for 1 measure. Down, down, up, down, up. And we're going to do that same strum pattern for every measure. So we'll practice that strum pattern on that G chord. So I have my G chord, and I'm going to go down, down, up, down, up. And then I want to repeat that because I have 2 measures of G. So I'm going to go down, down, up, down, up, down, down, up, down, up. Then I'm going to switch to C because that is going to be the 3rd measure. Down, down, up, down, 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 up, down, up. Back to G in the 2nd line, 5th measure. Down, down, up, down, up. 6th measure. D, 7th, 8. Back to measure 1. Down, down, up, down, up. C, G, D. So we have, and then it just repeats. So we just want to practice that strum pattern going through nice and slow. And we want to make sure that the strum pattern, kind of continues on so there's no lapse in it. So what I mean by that is here's how it will sound if we have a lapse in it, where if we go over the G. So you hear how there's that lapse in between, chords. We don't want to do that. We want that continuous strum pattern. So, and I understand if there's a little bit of lapse when we're switching chords in the beginning, and that's okay. That's natural for everyone. But what I'm talking about is just even if we're staying on that G chord, that I want it to, there's no lapse in between those measures. So it just, you can't tell when that second one starts. It just is a kind of a continuation of the first. So that's how I want you to practice this chord progression, which we'll take a look at one more time right here. So go slow, do the best you can with that, and I'm sure you'll be strumming this in no time.